Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, as I am posting this video. I'm posting it for the 24th because it's in time for the 24th where I am, but depending on where you are in the world, the 24th may have already come and gone. Um, so I'm just setting this into, or you might see it in the future. I'm just setting the intention that this be a message for you for the next 24 hours from whenever you happen to see the video. Happy birthday if you're an October 24th baby, or if you happen to stumble upon this video on some random date, which happens to be your birthday. The card we have coming up here is the Knight of Wands. So traditionally, this could be a fire sign person. So this could be a Sagittarius, a Leo, or an Aries that you might be dealing with. If you have fire sign placements, sun, moon, rising, Venus, you might be focusing on those houses or those areas of your life. You may be focusing on changes around these areas. Also, we're going to have a not a full moon. We're going to have a solar eclipse in Scorpio. And we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 25th. So within 24 hours of this message. So if you do have sun sign placements, it could be information being revealed or light being shined, things being shown to you about those houses or those areas of your life. It could be things are being shown to you that's requiring you to take action, right? Like maybe you were going to make a decision about something and you didn't think you were going to have to make the decision quite yet. You had it in your mind that, you know what, I'm going to have to move sooner or later here. I'm going to have to start thinking about that. I'm going to start to have to look at places, or you know what, I'm going to have to start looking for another job. I know I can't stay here too much longer. I'm going to have to start looking for something sooner or later. Like there could be something that you have in your mind and you're like, sooner or later. Maybe some of you are in a relationship and you know you're not seeing it's going to be a long-term thing and you're like, yeah, I'm going to have to let this person know sooner or later, or oh, I'm going to have to end this eventually. Some of you could be in like that kind of a situation, but you think that there's time, or you're like, yeah, I'm going to get around to it. But the Knight of Wands can come up when something is being sped up. Like you thought you had time, but circumstances are shifting and changing to where it's like, well, you're going to have to make that decision now. You're not going to be able to put it off. You're not going to be able to delay it, right? So it's like kind of a now or never kind of vibe sometimes with the Knight of Wands. This could be an ultimatum. Maybe you're getting ready to give someone an ultimatum. Somebody might be giving you an ultimatum. An opportunity may be presenting itself to you. If that is the case, the Knight of Wands tells us don't snooze on this, right? Like it's not going to be available forever, and you're going to have to make a decision, quickly, because the window of opportunity, that window of time, it's going to close here. This isn't something that we have a really long time to ponder or think about. Don't let that stress you out. Don't let that freak you out. Just because you don't have a lot of time to make the decision and to think about it, it doesn't mean that you don't have enough time to gather information, weigh the pros and cons, and make the best possible decision with the information that you gather, right? Sometimes it's not the time that we need, but rather getting the information, looking at it, weighing the pros and cons, and going for something. We don't necessarily need a long time. We need information. And so now here with this Knight of Wands, it's like get your information together, think about it, weigh the pros and cons, and make that decision, because you're not going to have a long time to make this choice or this decision. Intuitively, I do feel that for some of you, you're in a situation where you're feeling like it's time to simplify your life. I feel here almost like the Knight of Wands is all of the stresses and the pressures, that boogeyman that comes in and keeps us awake at night. What are you going to do about this in the future? How are you going to come up with the money for this? How are you going to come up with the money? How are you going to pay this bill? How are you going to pay that bill? Oh, like all of these stresses of like all of the things you have to get to. And some of you may already be living a very simple life. I'm not saying you guys are being all extravagant, but I feel here that there may be certain things you've been doing or certain things you've been like certain expenses you've had because you feel like this is what you should be doing or this is how it should be. So feel like what's happening is you're realizing this stress is too much. Like I'm really, really worrying about these expenses too much. It's becoming more and more difficult to keep this up. And I don't like being under this pressure, right? It's unnecessary for me to be under this pressure. So I feel here that some of you are making a decision to simplify or to cut back on certain things you've been doing. It could be, for example, like say you're renting office space or something outside of your home and you're realizing, man, this expense is really beginning to add up. I could do this from home. Maybe it's nice to have like an outside place, but realistically, I don't know if I need this expense. I could be doing this out of my place, right? Or maybe you're thinking, you know what, I could move into a smaller place, or you know what, I could move to somewhere where the cost of living was less. I feel like some of you are making certain cutbacks because like you had it in your mind where you're like, oh, abundance, like I'm going to manifest money for this. But like, you're like, in the scope of things, do I really need this? Or is this something my ego wants? Do I really need to have this extravagant space? Or do I really need to have these particular things that I'm doing? Or like I just feel like some of you, and again, it might not be extravagance, maybe I'm using the wrong word here, but like it's not necessary. I feel like there's like a minimal approach or like scaling things back and realizing that that doesn't mean you're not successful. That doesn't mean that you're not producing. That doesn't mean that you're not good. I feel there's something you've been doing because at first you thought you were supposed to, and then it began becoming more and more difficult to hold on to this. And then the ego set in, like you're like, well, I don't want to downgrade. I don't want to step back. And now you're like, is this really worth it though? Like I'm losing my sleep over this. I'm stressing out over this. I'm losing my joy over this. So from some of you are taking a step back. Maybe for some of you there's a change in your living situation. Maybe you're making a move that's gonna save you money. Some of you may be making certain sacrifices to open up time and resources and maybe even finances to invest or to put into a dream or idea, right? You might be making certain cutbacks so that you can invest your time, your energy, your resources, your money into an idea or a dream that you might have. But I feel here there's something where it's like, okay, like now is the time. I'm doing this now. I'm going forward with this now, and I'm not going to wait anymore, right? And maybe for some of you it's because, I hate to say this, it almost feels like a tower energy here, like you're like, the rug is getting pulled out from under me. I may as well do this. Okay? Like I may as well just kind of go for this. I may as well simplify and use this time to work on this. So maybe something is happening for some of you and you're finding that you're having to move in with a friend, for example. And your friend might be really cool about it, right? Your friend might be like, look, don't even worry about it. Just come stay with me. Give me whatever you're able to give me, or help out however you're able to help out. It's all cool. I have the space. I'm not worried about it. You can take your time and, go back to school or start your business or you do your writing or, whatever it is, you can figure it out what you want to do, you or family or whatever. So some of you are going to have support in this way during a time of transition, during a shift, during a change. And so you may be taking uh, advantage of this opportunity and working on something. Maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're going back and learning a new skill, maybe you're working on some project or invention even, or something that you're putting out there, maybe something artistically that you're going to be putting out there. So I feel there's a sense of like seizing the moment during some unexpected changes in your life, I guess is what we'll say. There may be unexpected changes coming in, but again, you're taking action, you're moving forward. I know sometimes the Knight of Wands could be a person who comes in and out of our life. I'm not getting that vibe in this card, in this particular reading. I feel it's more things being sped up and taking action and making decisions. Like, what am I going to do? Right? It almost feels to me like if you were on a sinking ship and you're like, okay, I gotta throw some things overboard here so I can stay afloat, and you're deciding what stays and what goes. Like you're looking life in this way. What's really important to me at the end of the day? What are the things that are important to me? What are the things that are going to matter to me? What are the things that, if I'm taking my last breath on my deathbed, I'm going to be thinking about? I remember I was working at a miserable job, and it was just soul crushing and sucking the life out of me, and I was so unhappy. And something happened with my one of my supervisors, and I was so upset. Like I was so upset I couldn't even think straight. I couldn't be at my desk. I emailed my friend in another department. I go, let's like go take our 15-minute break. Like I just got to get out of here. And I was venting to her, and it was just stupid stuff. It was just stupid, dramatic office politics stupidity. And she just looked at me and she just said, just very matter of fact, she goes, you know what? She goes, at the end of the day, think about it. She goes, you're not even going to remember this on your deathbed. I don't even remember what upset me. I just remember what she said that day. She goes, one day when you're on your deathbed, this is not going to be one of the things you're thinking about. So don't let it eat you up right now. And I was like, oh my God, like that totally blew my mind. I remember her telling me that. I don't even remember what I was upset about. I don't even I remember who I was upset about, that this person upset me, but I can't even remember what they did or what they said. I just remember what she told me. And so I feel some of you are coming into this way of looking at things. Like in the bigger picture, in the bigger scope of things, is this really worth my time? Is this really worth my devotion? Is this really worth my investment? You're getting down to really what matters here, what stays and what you're throwing overboard, so to speak. That's the vibe I'm getting from this card, and that's exciting. That's definitely exciting. That's some big changes and big shifts coming. You may want to check out the weekly forecasts if you haven't already. Those are linked in the description. Love readings for October are linked in the description. I am working on love readings for November. They're beginning to pop up. You might want to check out the private readings as well if you feel like you might want to schedule a private reading with me. Link in the description that takes you to the scheduling page. I don't know why I haven't thought of this before in the few years I've been on YouTube. I don't know, it's 2-3 years I've been on YouTube. But I decided that for the month of November through mid-December, I'm going to set aside 10% of the income that comes in from the private readings, and I'm going to buy toys for Toys for Tots. So I'll take pictures of everything I buy. I'll post pictures online of the donations being made, so you guys can see, where this is going. But if you've been thinking about scheduling a private reading and you like the idea of contributing towards that Toys for Tots donation, you can definitely check out the scheduling page, and look at the different reading options and see what looks good to you. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope you all have a fabulous day ahead. Take care and be well, my darlings.